Go watch a special called The Levees Broke the Spike Leaked It. Go watch a bunch to understand this is not just some yo Katrina happened. Said, nah, my city is gone, you know what I'm saying? So your request was not uncalled for, even though you got an advance. It was a catastrophic situation that happened. Cam big brother. That's how I felt about it. I was like, say, bro, you just gave me an advance, but this situation, music, just not to soften it up, but I don't think he understood the detrimental situation of Katrina at the moment. You dig? Because when I told him to help me, he basically told me to get on the road. He was like, you better get on the road. Like, get on the road. I ain't got no home to go to. Yeah, where am I going? I was outside the wall. So, I'm telling you, it's not easy to be where I'm at now. But you got past the moat with the alligators. Yes, man, and that's not easy. I didn't do it all in this game for being blackballed. Music talked about, Snort said I couldn't rap, said I couldn't do this and like that. And I never let nothing discourage me because I know what I wanted to do and where I needed to go. Plus, I knew that there was nowhere else in this world that I could figure out how to make a dollar like this game. Said that, there's nothing that this could show me that I ain't seen a million times, man. And sometimes you just gotta run through it, man. What people say. Yo, embrace failures, and 2, 3 for losses that I had. That gave me the fire to come back and learn a lot about me. You have to learn from your failures and stay consistent. That's when people know what know to look for you because you're constantly doing it. That's when you win. And that's what I'm all about, man. Want to rent it? And I said, okay, fine. Right? He's been saying this for since October, and he keeps trying to build it, but he won't sign the lease. He's like, I don't like these terms. I want 6 months of build out and ridiculous __. We also have a partnership agreement where half of what he's building now is music belongs to us. But he won't tell us how much he's making and doing all these things. So half of the content he's creating, if you want to buy that too, I'll sell you half the company. He's not a business. He's insane. To me, it's worth music very little to nothing. But if it for you, I just throw that in as a sweetheart. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is he signed a lease with me. Right now, he owes, I'm going to say in a short way, music, at least $80,000 if not $180,000. Of the monthly rent on the old lease don't. Music, I'm going to say this man beefing with 50 is as good business numbers is up. Podcast is up. Engagement is up. Beefing with 50. I wish I would have known this a long time ago. We could go a couple more rounds. No way. 100%. But he said he wanted to buy Happy Podcast. Now I'm saying if you want to buy Happy Podcast, I'm the person you need to see about that. I'm the guy you got to see about that. I mean, do you think he was being facetious, or was he say he don't cap? He say he don't cap. So I should be receiving a phone call, right? Saying, yo, what's up with this podcast? Beefing with 50, beefing with Curtis. It's music good business. Oh my goodness. Laughter, we not making our podcast, not going we don't talk about people. We take things and internalize it. But at the same time, I'm not trying to walk nothing down. If it's smoke, it's smoke. All right, man. If you shooting and you saying they and these guys, and you got a picture, and I'm in a picture, I'm shooting back, and it's with whoever. It's with whoever, whenever, however, laughter, whatever. We know. Cabo. Yeah, we out here squatting. For real. 50 Cent publicly saying he would buy the Jim Jones and Mayo podcast flipped the vibe instantly. This was not tossed out as a joke, not played as sarcasm, and not dropped like one of his usual quick insults. It felt like a straight power flex, a loud reminder of money, leverage, and control. And that is exactly why it hit so heavy. When Camron reacted, it stacked another layer. Because Cam is not just giving commentary. He is connected to Dipset, history, tied to Jim Jones personally, music, and linked to the long memory of how alliances in this scene rise and collapse. Music, this moment grew way bigger than a simple back and forth and started touching real nerves. It turned into a real talk moment about respect, music, pride, ownership, and how far public beef should go once money steps into the room. 50 Cent has always known how to turn words into pressure. By saying he would buy the podcast, he was not just talking about owning a show. He was talking about owning the conversation, the platform, and the narrative. In hip-hop, Music where independence is worn like a badge of honor. That kind of statement cuts different. It sends a message that what someone built with sweat and time can still be bought, taken, or controlled if music, the price is high enough. That is why the reaction was so loud and why Cam's response really mattered. Music, Cameron's reaction did not come from shock at all. It came from experience. He has been around long enough to tell when something is said for laughs and when it is meant to test limits. His tone sounded like someone who fully understands how music 50 operates and how his moves usually play out. Cam did not rush straight into insults or wild shots. Instead, he responded with a mix of disbelief, humor, and a quiet warning. That balance showed he knew. This was not just entertainment or talk for clicks. Music, it was a signal, plain and simple. When someone like 50 makes a statement like that, it forces everyone involved to think about what comes next. Jim Jones and Maino built their podcast as a space where they could speak freely, talk culture, and share opinions without filters, whether people agree with them or not. The platform represents their voices, their control. 50's comment threatened that idea, even if he never planned to buy it. The statement alone challenged their independence, music, and that is why people took it as disrespect. In hip-hop, respect is not about words. It is about letting people stand on music, what they built. Camron has real history with 50 that goes back years. There have been moments of tension, music of distance, and moments where both sides stayed quiet. That history made Cam's reaction hit harder because he was not reacting as a fan or an outsider. He responded as someone, who knows the personalities involved and understands how fast things can go left. His reaction suggested he saw the move as an unnecessary escalation, even if he understood why 50 did it. This situation also shows how social media has reshaped conflict in hip-hop. Disagreements used to stay behind closed doors, or come out through music. Now they play out in real time, through interviews, posts, and comments. 50 Cent has completely mastered this space and knows how to keep himself right in the middle of the conversation. Jim Jones and Maino, by speaking on him, stepped into that arena whether they meant to or not. Once that happens, a response is guaranteed. And the problem is that 50 never responds lightly. Cameron's reaction showed he understood that exact dynamic. He did not act like this was harmless talk. He knew that once money and ownership get mentioned, the energy shifts fast. At that point, it stops being about opinions and turns into a music status play. In hip-hop culture, saying, "I can buy what you built," is viewed as one of the highest levels of disrespect. Music, it does not just question success, it questions value at the same time. That is why the comment hit such a nerve. Some people, believe 50's move was necessary and even expected. They argue that Jim Jones and Maino spoke on him first, criticized his actions, and questioned his music motives. From that angle, 50 responding with force lines up with who he has always been because he has never been known to stay quiet when his name gets brought up. His comment was not bullying. It was a reminder that words come with consequences. Cameron's reaction did not fully land on either side, and that is what made it so interesting. He did not praise 50, but he also, did not completely shut him down. Instead, he pointed out how wild the statement, was and how it instantly changed the temperature of the situation. That response felt more reflective than reactive. It came off like Cam was looking at the bigger picture, not just the moment in front of him. He was reading the room, the history, and the possible fallout all at once. This situation also, reopened old conversations about Dipset loyalty and long-standing cracks inside the crew. Anytime Jim Jones is involved in public conflict, those old stories resurface. Camron reacting pulled that history right back to the surface, and reminded people that nothing in hip-hop exists in isolation. Every comment is tied to years of shared moments, arguments, and unresolved feelings. The idea of buying someone's podcast struck a nerve, too, because podcasts have become one of the last spaces where artists truly control their own voice. Labels, contracts, and platforms have always put limits on expression, but podcasts feel different. They feel personal, raw, and owned. When that space gets threatened, it feels like an attack on identity itself, and Camron clearly picked up on that. Music, which is why his reaction carried real weight. There is also the question of whether 50 ever planned to actually buy the podcast. Some people see it as pure music talk, a flex meant to dominate the moment and control the conversation. Others believe that, even if he never planned to do it, just saying it was enough to cross a line. In hip-hop, intention matters less than impact, and the impact here was obvious. It shifted the narrative fast and forced everyone involved to react. Camron's response acted like a pause, music button, slowing things down just enough for people to think instead of jumping straight into insults and chaos. His reaction added context and perspective. It reminded viewers this is not just online drama or viral clips. These are real people with real history, real pride, and long memories that do not fade easily. The social media tension between 50 Cent, Jim Jones, and Maino shows how fast things can escalate when ego, money, music, and public platforms collide. What started as commentary turned into power statements. Camron stepping in music did not end the conflict, but it reframed it and made people see the situation differently. For Jim Jones, the comment challenged his position as a boss and a music builder. For Mayo, it questioned his role and relevance. And for 50, it reinforced exactly who he has always been in moments like this. It reinforced 50's image as someone who never backs down music and is willing to use money as a weapon. Camron's reaction highlighted all of that without him ever needing to say it out loud. He let the music moment speak for itself, and that made it hit even harder. This music moment also raised bigger questions about unity in hip-hop. Instead of conversations leading to understanding, they often turn into division. Every comment becomes a dominance check, and Camron's reaction hinted at real fatigue with that cycle, even if he fully understands how it works. At the end of the day, this situation is about way more than a podcast. It is about pride, power, music, and the lines people cross when they feel challenged. For some, 50 crossed a line. For others, he simply drew a necessary boundary. Camron's response showed that even people closest to the situation can see both sides. Now, the conversation shifts to the audience. People watching have to decide how they feel about it. Was 50 wrong for saying he would buy the podcast? Or was that just his way of responding to criticism? Was Camron right to step in, or should he have stayed out of it? These questions do not come with easy music answers. What is clear is that this moment will be remembered not for insults, but for what it represented. Ownership versus voice, money versus pride, silence versus response. Camron's reaction captured that tension and made it impossible to brush off. As the conversation keeps moving, it matters to look past picking sides and focus on meaning. This is how hip-hop discussions evolve now. Public, loud, and layered. The situation between 50 Cent, Jim Jones, Maino, and Camron is more than music drama. It reflects where the culture stands and where it could be heading next. The comments, reactions, and debates that followed will shape how this moment is remembered. Whether people laugh it off or take it seriously, the impact is already locked in. Camron reacting made sure it would not be dismissed as just another internet moment. It turned into something worth discussing, thinking about, and debating long after the words were spoken. That is why this situation matters, and why Camron's response added depth to a moment that could have easily been written off as noise. Looking deeper, this also shows how much reputation still matters. Music, even in a time where attention feels like the main currency. 50 Cent, music has built a reputation where people expect him to strike hard and do it publicly. That reputation gives weight to his words before music anyone even reacts. When he talks about buying a platform, people do not hear it as a random comment. They hear it through the lens of everything he has done before. And that is what made this moment hit the way it did. They hear it through years of past behavior, business moves, and public battles. Camron understood that instantly, which is why his reaction came off calm instead of shocked. He knew the weight behind the words before anyone else even broke it down. Reputation works the same way for Jim Jones and Mayo. Both have spent years carving out space where they're seen as respected voices, not just artists living off old moments. Music, their podcast, is part of that image. It stands for growth, relevance, and control over their own story. A statement like 50s threatens that image even if nothing ever happens after. Camron reacting showed awareness of how fragile reputation can become once it is challenged in public. One comment can shake years of work. This moment also proves how personal history never really stays in the past. Dips at history, old disagreements, and long-running rivalries all sit under the surface until something like this pulls them back up. Cameron's reaction carried all that weight without needing to spell it out. That is something only someone who lived through those moments could pull off. There's also a lesson here about silence versus response. In many cases, silence gets read as weakness. But Camron showed that a controlled response can hit harder than loud reaction. He spoke just enough to frame the moment without letting it spiral out of control. That choice likely stopped the situation from getting uglier than it already was. Instead of throwing gas on it, he set boundaries with words. The audience plays a huge role in moments like this. 2. Fans amplify tension, pick sides, and push narratives forward. Some want chaos, others want clarity. And Cameron's reaction gave the people looking for clarity something solid to grab onto. It slowed the rush toward extremes and reminded everyone that context actually matters. Not every comment needs to turn into a full war when someone steps back and reframes music. Another key part is how business talk changes the emotional tone of conflict. Music, insults can fade and jokes can be brushed off, but once money gets mentioned, everything turns serious. Buying something means control. Control means power, and power changes relationships. Camron recognized that shift instantly, which is why he treated the comment differently than a normal disc. This also shows how artists today have to protect more than just their image. They have to protect platforms, partnerships, and long-term plans, too. Jim Jones and Maino are not just protecting their pride. They're defending a business they built. Cameron's reaction showed respect for that reality, and music made it clear he understood what was really at stake in that moment. At the same time, 50's approach reflects how he sees power working. From his perspective, dominance prevents challenges. Responding softly invites more talk, while responding hard shuts things down. Whether people agree or not, that mindset has shaped his entire career. Cameron's reaction, music, did not deny that logic, but it also did not co-sign it. He acknowledged it without fully endorsing it, and that music balance is what made his response stand out. This situation also shows how fast entertainment can turn into real stress. What starts as content can quickly become personal. Music pressure, public eyes constant, judgment, and nonstop reactions make every word feel heavier. Camron reacting with control showed he understands that pressure. Music, as the conversation keeps going, people will keep coming back to this moment because it raises real questions. Who owns the conversation? Who controls the space? How should power be used? Those questions go beyond the individuals involved and hit the culture as a whole. This moment also shows how power is measured differently now than it was years ago. It used to come from hit records, street reputation, or label control. Today, power also comes from platforms, audiences, and the ability to shape conversation online. When 50 mentioned buying the podcast, music, he was tapping directly into that modern form of power. He was reminding everyone that visibility and reach, music, can be owned just like music catalogs and businesses. Cameron's reaction showed he clearly understands that shift, which is why he did not brush it off as empty talk or a random comment. Cam has always valued ownership and control over his work. Throughout his career, he has spoken openly about business independence and making sure artists do not get taken advantage of. That background adds another layer to why his reaction carried real weight. He was not reacting just as Jim Jones's friend or music. as 50's rival. He was reacting as someone who knows what it means to build something from the ground up and how music-threatening it feels when someone publicly suggests they can take it from you. There's also a generational layer to this situation. 50 Cent comes from an era where public dominance was part of survival. You could not look weak, silent, or unsure, and every response had to be sharp and decisive. Jim Jones and Maino operate in music, a slightly different space now. Conversation, commentary, and platforms are part of the brand. And that difference in approach is exactly why this moment landed the way it did. Those two worlds collided in this moment, and Camron stood right in the middle, reacting in a way that showed he understands both eras. His response: music reflected knowledge of old-school survival rules and today's platform-driven mindset at the same time. Another key part of this situation was how fast fans picked sides. Some instantly praised 50, calling it a boss move and saying he put everyone in their place. Others felt it was unnecessary and disrespectful. Music, especially toward people who helped build the culture. Camron's reaction created room for a middle ground. It let people admit the comment was powerful without pretending it was harmless. That balance mattered more than loud cheering or instant outrage. The response also showed real restraint, which is rare in moments like this. Cam did not escalate with threats, music, or insults, and he did not add extra chaos. He let the weight of 50's words speak for themselves. That music approach made his reaction more effective because it did not